Good morning. I am Nick.
I'm Mindy. It's nice to be with you on another sunny Wednesday morning. And speaking of mornings, Nick and I have some exciting morning things to talk about today.
That's right. We are going to look a little bit about, over the summer, what does it mean to be kind of ongoing with the series we've been talking about, to be intentional with your time and be purposeful. And specifically, what does it look like to be intentional with mornings and the idea of, dare we say it, a morning routine?
Yes. Okay, so I was not a morning person my whole life, but I grew up on a dairy farm, and I remember my mom and dad, every morning they had this list on this little chalkboard in the kitchen of all of our chores that we had to do, which, we knew what they were, but they still wrote them there, and then any extra surprises. But if we were not up by a certain time, my dad would come up and wake us up, which was never like, dad coming up versus when mom had called us to get up. But he wouldn't shave his beard, and he would get real scraggly until we were up. So if we weren't up, he'd give us a kiss and wake us up with his stubble. So we always made sure we were up in the mornings because there were things to do. And I didn't understand as a teenager, especially, like, this is summer. I've got all day to go clean the gutter. I've got all day to do these things. Why it was so important. But now as an adult, I've become more of a morning person, or valuing mornings better than I did. So Nick and I have some ideas about morning routines for you in the summer and establishing those with your students and children.
Yeah, I think this is important because I think there's some, I don't want to say dangers, but there's some...
You could say dangers.
Okay, dangers. Dangers and at the least negative habits we, even as adults, fall into. And if we fall into it, how can we expect students and kids to resist that temptation and to not fall into that even more easily than we do sometimes? And I'm talking about, you wake up, you roll over, you grab your phone, and the next thing you know, you've been on your phone for an hour and a half looking at who knows what, about angry people on social media, upset about who cares what. But follow the example. I love how, yes, Jesus, it feels like he's cheating because he was Jesus, but he was so intentional, like, with his time in the mornings, and when he would go off and he would have time with just the Father and remove himself from the hustle and bustle and be so purposeful with his routine. I think we need to do the same thing.
Yeah, so we have some ideas for helping establish those routines. So first you got to think through, when do I leave? Sometimes I work backwards from when I have to leave in the morning to get to work, to know when to start. Now, it's going to be tricky because my kids won't necessarily they don't think they have anything to do, right? They don't have to rush to school. So in their minds, like, what's the point? But we have to help them see, like, well, there are expectations and these are what it's going to look like. So if you come across it as a positive way, like, this is the expectation, we've got exciting things going on during the day, you can set it up really well for your kids to be successful for future habits as well. So what I like to do is I work backwards and figure out, when do I need to get up so that I can get my alone time and get my things done before I wake up the beasts, and then have to be pleasant and working with them. Okay, they're not always that way, but
hey,
we are sometimes,
we are.
right? So, like, one thing that we're gonna do this summer, we've always done school time. I'm a teacher by heart, so I'm gonna make sure they don't have that summer slide. And we always do a few things, and they always have some time to read. But this year, we're gonna add to it that they have to do exercise, breakfast, and devotions, which we do as a family, but now I'm gonna have each of them take a turn. So one day, Samantha's gonna have to make breakfast once a week, at least, for everybody. And then Isaac's gonna have to plan devotions once a week for everybody. And Julie's gonna have to plan the exercise. Oh, I'm gonna have to do it. And the exercise routine for everybody. So I'm helping them try to, like, not just do those three things, but start to plan and do those. They'll have to make the grocery list. So there's a little bit more ownership. I know my kids are a little bit older, but if you have younger kids, even helping them get up, like, okay, let's do our exercises. Let's eat our breakfast. Let's read our Bible. Now we're ready to do our chores.
Yeah.
You can, their developmental stages, you can still establish some of those. So that was a fun, and I actually wondered how they would react, and they were all kind of excited, like, can we make whatever for breakfast? Well, not ice cream, but So I think we'll have some interesting breakfasts.
I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait.
Yeah, I may be a light rail. So, but anyway, those are some of the ideas we're gonna have. And then after that, then it's chores, and then it's school time. So their routine is done by 10 a.m. And so then when their friends call, they've got all afternoon that they can do things, and they've gotten all sorts of things done, and they're not laying in bed until 10 or 11, and then rolling out and trying to do things and not getting things done till 3 o'clock when everybody else is out and about and doing things.
Playing already.
Yeah, so we're gonna eliminate problems later by starting our routine early.
Yeah, I remember discovering as I think a middle schooler that in the summer, if I would get up earlier, I would have more time to do fun things in the day. Like, it's pretty obvious, but I remember realizing I can set my alarm in the summer for 8 o'clock, get up, do the couple things I need to do, and be watching cartoons by like 10 o'clock or 9:30, or and I remember sometimes I'd start calling friends to hang out at 9:30 or 10, and they're like, their moms and dads like, oh, they're not up yet. I'm like, well, why not? I want to hang out. And realizing that, oh yeah, there is a lot more to a day than just a couple hours in the afternoon. And what a freeing experience that was for me to kind of take hold and be purposeful as a kid in the summer. I mean, the purpose was fun, but it really helped me establish, okay, I can be purposeful in my routines, and that sets me up better for the rest of the day.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we think, oh, it's okay to sleep in. Right, it is okay to sleep in a little longer, but if we let them sleep all morning, we're not teaching them discipline. We're going to waste away the summer, and then it's going to be a bit of a contentious time sometimes. You've been here all day and you haven't gotten this or this done. And so it's really, really important. And if it's done well and it's fun, you might even come up with a fun song to play to wake them up in the morning, like Mission Impossible, or some fun music, or it's gonna be a great day. That Mandisa song, Good Morning, is a fun one. But just even having a fun or a theme day, like today is Mope Around Monday. You gotta get up and start moping around. Kind of play off on how they're gonna be feeling, but getting some of those routines in a really fun way will help your kids out in the long run as they head through life, and just learn to manage time and to do their time well so that they can worship Jesus, love each other, and reach our world.
Yeah. And it's good for us too. We need the same discipline and the same habits.
Yeah. So that's our tips for today.
There you go. Happy Wednesday. See you next week.